Hi, I'm Merrick D'Amato,
And I'm ClassixGamer.
and welcome back to Narwhal and Classix Post Play Podcast.
Yep, indeed.
So, it's still the holidays, so happy holidays to everyone watching. Hope you had a good one.
Happy Christmas and all that.
There's a game we both did this Christmas. PS1
Yep,
title, Die Hard Trilogy.
yep.
Now, unlike Alien Trilogy, which was the same style of game covering all three movies at the time, this is a specific game for each movie. Very arcadey.
Yes, very arcadey.
So obviously, it's based on the three Die Hard films that were out at the time. That's Die Hard, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance. Um, Only the first one is really a Christmas movie. Well, the second one's also a Christmas movie, but the third one isn't. It's in the summer, but it's quite a good film. But the three game types we have third person shooter for Die Hard 1, kind of a first person shooter on rails thing,
Arcade
like a
style as
Time
well.
Crisis kind of thing, or House of the
Yeah,
Dead
yeah, yeah.
for Die Hard 2, and terrible driving game for Die Hard 3.
Oh God.
So we're gonna talk about what we think of them, each style in order. So
Oh,
first, Die Hard.
yep.
Um, you're going up. It's like what 50 levels the game.
Is it 50 levels? I
Well,
don't think it says.
you go up from the parking garage to the roof, fighting through Nakatomi Plaza, collecting guns. You can only have one at a time, which is irritating, and just running around killing terrorists and saving hostages. Hostages can
Yes.
die. You do not get penalized if you let them die, but try not to let them die. And I found this one slightly disappointing for two reasons. I didn't like the bonus stages because they kind of broke the flow a bit. Because why are we suddenly on the roof getting everyone to helicopters?
Yeah. I got a bit fed up with it when I had to repeat the first one about 4 times.
It's also, you know, what was sorely lacking from this one?
What?
Bosses.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, yeah, there's bosses. There's dudes who have a lot of health and have boss written over their head, but none of them are Carl or are fucking Hans Gruber that you can tell.
No.
They're just random terrorists that have more health. It's But then again, we played Nakatomi Plaza. We've seen what a fucking Hans Gruber boss fight could be. Kind of glad we don't have to put up with that. It is pretty samey. All the levels are pretty much the same, different layouts. Tip if you play this: memorize the level layout while you're rescuing the hostages, because once you rescue all the hostages and kill all the terrorists, a bomb will be triggered, and you'll have about 30 seconds to run back to the elevator to go back up.
Yep.
That was real fun.
Yeah, but I had a cheat where it stopped the timer.
I just had save states.
Yeah, the stop timer cheat for me was a godsend because it would start counting down to like 28 seconds and then go back up to 30.
I don't usually use stop timer cheats in games. I'm realizing because they can work against you sometimes. Because if like you have X amount of time to get to this location, sure, it helps you out, but hold out for X amount of time, it stops that timer too.
True.
And then you're stuck there forever until you turn it off. But you get a selection of weapons. You start with a pistol, which has infinite ammo.
You get a shotgun.
Shotgun, submachine, an MP5 submachine gun, a various machine guns. You get a steer auger, the weapon Carl uses. Grenade
You also
launcher.
get a like LMG type gun as well.
Yep. The guns are cool, but not great because you never have enough ammo to use them effectively.
I think I had unlimited ammo as well for all the guns.
I don't think I did. I may have done that one. There's also if you walk over one, that's your gun now, which can get
Yeah.
disappointing.
You can also get grenades as well, and these gas mines as well.
Yeah, they have uses. They're pretty useful sometimes. But on the whole, the game is just it's Die Hard. You go up the building, you rescue everyone.
With some nice lines from John. Yeah, eat this.
Now I have a machine gun.
Well, it's actually, oh ho ho ho! I got a machine gun.
And then you clear all the floors, rescue all the hostages, and boom, you're done. You win.
Yeah, I mean the levels. There was like 3 office levels,
Mm-hmm.
3 maintenance levels, which are slightly the same but slightly different. And yeah, then the bonus levels, but they are essentially like the same kind of levels over and over.
It's
Like
really
Office 1, 2, 3.
You're playing for a high score. Like
Yes.
It does feel most at home in an arcade, but unlike the other two, it doesn't feel like it's losing anything not being in an arcade.
I don't think it would be out. I think it would fit in an arcade.
Well, it would fit in an arcade, but it doesn't lose anything not being in one.
No.
Also, I don't think we need to lay out the plot of Die Hard to anybody, but just in case,
No.
John McClane, New York cop, going to visit his wife in California. She works at a building called Nakatomi Plaza. She goes to see her. Argument ensues. At the same time, terrorists led by the late, fantastic Alan Rickman show up to hold the building hostage so they can steal the bearer bonds from the vault. Action ensues, one-liners aplenty, and then Alan Rickman falls off of the building.
Yes.
Fun fact, Alan Rickman did not want to do this, the drop. So, but they had some, there was like a 3-foot drop, there's some mats set out for him, and alright, Alan, we're gonna drop you on the count of 3. Are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. Alright, 1, and then they dropped him. So his expression of oh no is very real.
Oh, is that why
Yes.
he looks like that in the film?
Because they're like, alright, we'll drop you on 3. Are you ready? Yes. Okay, 1, drop.
Fair enough.
Next, Die Hard 2. Die Harder.
Yep.
We've already given our thoughts on the movie of Die Hard when it did Nakatomi Plaza. Shall we give our thoughts on Die Hard 2? Have you seen Die Hard 2?
I have, and I actually quite enjoy it.
I enjoy it, but it's my least favorite of the first 3 Die Hard films. Because it's lacking in one very large department.
What?
The villain sucks.
Yes.
The villain is not interesting. They're at an airport. They're going to fly home for the holidays. But a terrorist attack happens, which is like the person's over the phone's the villain whose name I cannot fucking remember. Some military guy. They're saying it's out of respect because the military veterans are mistreated, so they have all these demands. They're using this device to ground any plane that takes off and not let planes land properly without crashing. But
yeah,
it's all to rescue this South American drug lord.
Yeah, so he's the colonel that's flying in, and they want a plane to be ready and fueled so they can take off later on. And they do it so they can hear what the planes are saying, but they can't speak back. They can only hear, they can't speak. And the guy who's the bad guy crashes on the planes when they try and get their communications back online.
I've seen the plot of this film done 1,000 times better in a 90s action movie called The Rock. It's a similar premise, starring Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery. It does what this movie's doing, but better. I think.
That isn't the one on Alcatraz, is it?
Yeah, it's the one on Alcatraz.
Yeah.
Which features one of the best out of context Sean Connery lines. You're best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Hearing Sean Connery swear is just so strange.
So, the game is a light gun shooter.
Yeah, and this was an arcade game.
Yeah. This feels like it does need to be in an arcade with the plastic light gun. It's not as fun without that.
Well, you can play it. There is a place you can get it on PC that adapts it so it works with keyboard and mouse.
True, but it's not. But unfortunately, the best way to play it, you can't anymore.
No,
unless you have like an old school CRT TV.
Yeah, I mean these
because
light gun
the
games,
PS1 light gun, like light guns, do not work with plasma screens. At all.
No, and that kind of happened with Resident Evil Survivor. They kind of stopped it after Columbine happened, so there was a lot of
well, yeah, because the thing is, the Nintendo Zapper looked like this like orange like laser pistol. The PlayStation Zapper was a fucking gun.
Yeah.
Like, Nintendo was ahead of the game on this.
And it's understandable why they prevented people playing with the light guns because of Columbine. It made perfect sense.
I don't really think it makes sense.
Well, I think it was respectful to the victims. And
okay, it's respectful to the victims. That part I understand, but the whole. I'm sorry, millions of people play video games. Billions of people play violent video games. Billions of people don't shoot up schools.
No, they don't. You're right. They don't.
I will argue that your science is you are not using the scientific method. If one person out of a sample group of 100 does X, that is somehow more valid than the 99 who don't. That doesn't make sense to me.
Fair enough.
Clearly, video games aren't the problem. But that's beside the point. The game it's fine. It's not the worst part of the game. You're shooting terrorists, not shooting hostages, even though they are trying to get shot.
Yeah, it's very hard not to hit hostages.
They keep jumping out, like they keep popping out in front of you and then doing a little dance.
Help me!
I'm trying! Get down, you fool! You just want to be like Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2, just get down.
The first level, you're in the airport terminal.
Mm-hmm.
The second one, you're in like the concourse going towards, I think, the gates and stuff. Then you're on like around the runway.
Yeah.
Then you're flying outside the church later on.
My favorite is when you're on the wing of a fucking plane.
Yeah, that was
that
fun.
is ridiculous.
Well, they do fight on the wing of a plane in the film.
Yeah, they do. I think you have to shoot. You're fighting at one point. You fight a plane. You have to shoot at its turbines. That's quite fun.
I don't remember that, but
maybe the game mixed up with it. Well, this one also doesn't really have a boss fight.
No.
And then you eventually win, and then you can spell your name with characters in the game. For some reason.
Yeah, I enjoyed that bit.
That was fun.
I quite like that.
And that's the Die Hard 2 part. It's very simplistic. It's a light gun shooter.
Yep.
It was fine. I've seen this bit done a little more interesting in the later game, but we'll get to that next year. I just part of my unenthusiasm with this one is I'm just not that big a fan of Die Hard 2.
Yeah, I don't mind Die Hard 2. I do enjoy it. I think it was okay.
But it's not a
obviously,
patch on the next one. Die Hard 3 with a Vengeance.
oh God, yeah.
Where McClane is this movie takes place in New York. He stays in New York. He's doing his normal cop shit in New York. Until there's a call. A call comes in. Telling him to go to that they're a terrorist. They have bombs planted all over the city. That they're going to blow them up unless John McClane does whatever the fuck this voice tells him. And the first thing he has him do is strip naked except for a sandwich board that says "I hate N-words," but it has the actual word, obviously, and go to Harlem with that.
Yeah.
And this is where John McClane meets Samuel L. Jackson, who saves his life. And I must say, it is intensely weird to see Samuel L. Jackson in a movie with hair. It's not right.
I don't. Does he have hair?
He has hair. He has hair and glasses.
I don't think I've ever noticed that.
I mean, he also has hair in Pulp Fiction, but he also has the beard. Well, the mustache. So, he is playing a character called Jesus.
Yep.
And they have to speed around town in various vehicles, trying to defuse bombs with puzzles and riddles sent by frickin' Simon Says, played by the great Jeremy Irons.
Jeremy Irons, yep.
And this is it's a different group. Simon Gruber? What is it?
Yeah,
it's the older.
His name was Peter Creek.
Peter Creek.
But he was born Simon Hans Gruber.
Simon Hans Gruber?
What was it? Simon. I can't remember what they say in the film, but. Is it Simon Peter Gruber? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, Simon Peter Gruber. Yeah, but Simon Gruber is the villain, and he is fantastic. And he's basically how you do. He's how you do the Riddler in a movie. Is Simon Gruber? He's making them find all these bombs, solve all these puzzles to defuse the bombs, and and he says it's revenge against John McClane for killing Hans Gruber. But no, the whole thing is just, as usual, a fucking distraction so he and his crew can rob a bank.
Yep, rob the New York Royal Mint or whatever it's called.
Yep. Steal all the stuff and escape down the canals.
But this part of the game is
not a fan. Not a fan of this part of the game.
Well, you lasted 2 minutes. Yeah. I completed this bit. I
lasted 2 minutes before, as I said in my video, using long play footage because I can't fucking these driving mechanics.
Yeah, so I played all the way through it. You go through levels that look identical multiple times.
Yep.
You go through
there's Harlem, Chinatown, Times
Central
Park, canals. Some really interesting chases in the canals.
Canals, the sewers, not sewers, the subway tunnels.
You're swapping cars often.
You have to race a truck
Yep.
before it gets to the end, so you can beat it.
You're driving around. You have to go whichever way Simon tells you to.
Yeah,
and he's there the whole time. Like this, at least I don't enjoy the gameplay, but at least the villain has a definite presence in this one.
Well, once you do all the tasks in the level, he then says, "Oh, McClane,
you surprised me
his
again.
friend must go to the
again, McClane."
But it's not Jeremy Irons' voice,
No,
obviously.
but it's a very good imitation. You also
I
have instead the guy doing Jesus' voice, however, does not sound anything like Samuel L. Jackson. Instead, he
no,
sounds like Argyle.
I don't. I remember so little about this part of the game, to be honest.
And him sounding like Argyle gave me an idea for Die
What?
Hard 3. As great as Jesus is, as much as I love Samuel L. Jackson, I think it would have been really interesting for Argyle to come back for this movie.
Argyle.
He's the limo driver in the first
Oh
movie,
yeah.
who never comes back.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't bring him back, but
And this one actually has a boss fight. You need to drive your car up a ramp, and then crash it into Simon's helicopter. For some reason, you have to do this multiple times, even though you'd think doing this once would result in a fucking explosion. Killing all of you.
Game logic.
Game logic, yes.
But no, the controls are so bad in this. My frustration went through the roof doing this.
I feel this one would feel slightly better played with one of those like arcade setup driving thing with the wheel and the pedals and everything. Might feel a bit better that way, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right there.
It was a choice. I'm not sure how you would have, and I feel like I would have done a Die Hard 3 game more puzzle focused. Personally,
I think it would have suited
some
it better
driving,
if it was
driving, obviously, but
some
but
driving.
The whole thing being driving, it's like that's not really the movie.
No, I mean, I think they just tried to maybe take the bit from the driving across Central Park and Zeus losing his mind with John because John's making all these crazy things, and the amount of times he says McClane in it as well is hilarious.
I have since played a lot of Die Hard video games and seen most of the movies, and I've realized something very important.
What?
Whichever character, upon meeting John McClane, calls him McClane, he's a bad guy. If anyone ever says McClane, they're the villain.
So, favorite bit?
I don't know, probably the first part, the first game.
Yeah, I think I'd probably say that's probably one of the better bits. I do enjoy the second one, but I just enjoy playing the first level of the second bit.
Yeah.
In the tournament, I always remember that from my childhood. Obviously, I can probably safely say your least favorite is the driving.
Definitely the driving. Yeah.
Yeah, I hated that bit. It was handled the worst. The controls are the worst in the world. They're just so fucking bad.
My favorite part of this game is honestly that they took all of the gameplay elements, polished and refined them, and made Die Hard Trilogy 2. Because we'll get to that one next year. That one is just this working properly. But that's just
I've got my thoughts on that one.
But hey, that's for next year, right?
Yep.
But yeah, it's Die Hard Trilogy. It's hell, at the very least, it's not Nakatomi Plaza.
No, it's not.
Hell, at the very least, it's shorter.
Yeah, actually, it is.
The fact that it's shorter is definitely an improvement over Nakatomi Plaza.
Racing out of 10.
Racing out of 10? Probably a 2. Because
I mean overall rating.
Oh, for the whole game, maybe a 5.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, I'll play 5 as well.
I know it's games at the time, but it's just like with GoldenEye. I have kind of an issue with games based on movies where you have to have watched the movie to have any fucking idea what's going on.
So how about the individual, if you were to rank each one?
The first, the running around bit, I'd give a 6 to. Maybe a 5.5. 'Cause the gameplay itself is solid, but the fact that it doesn't actually change, it doesn't go anywhere, is kind of a problem for
Yeah,
me.
I'd
Um,
s- I'd say probably for the first one, probably a 6 out of 10 maybe.
upon reflection, I'd give the light gun sections about a 6. Because at
I'd
least the
say
levels feel more distinct. It's shorter and
I'd
the levels feel
say
more
I'd say
distinct.
probably the first two I'd give a strong 7 to. I think they're both solid in different ways. I think they handle their kind of like idea very well. But the driving one, I think
Yeah,
I can't
driving
give it
one,
more
I
than
give a solid 1 too. Maybe a
yeah.
2 because I can't mark it that low. I didn't even fucking try. At the end of the day,
I
I
did
hated it so
I
much.
wouldn't
But
score it higher than a 2.
let's give it a 2. And that's Die Hard Trilogy.
Yeah, it is.
Sorry for the shorter episode, but hey, it's a short game.
Very short game.
So from us to you, happy holidays, happy Christmas, happy New Year because that's coming up. Hope you had a good one, and see you next year.
See you next year.